The Ryan Twyman shooting, I think it took 3 years. 2019 is when Ryan Twyman was shot and killed by Deputy Andrew Lyons. And 2022, the DA's office finally charges him with 1 count of voluntary manslaughter and 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic fire weapon. 2 questions here. Why wasn't this done under Jackie Lacey? And why did it take 3 years in the first place to charge the man if you're going to charge him? Now, I'm not saying he deserves to be charged. What I'm asking is, if he did deserve to be charged, why not get charged back in 2019? Why 3 years later? And this is all under Villanueva. So I heard you talk about it briefly in that town hall meeting. What do you got to say about that?
You know, unfortunately, that was the biggest critique against the former DA, Jackie Lacey, is that she didn't prosecute law enforcement. The mindset was, we'll let the department deal with them administratively. And they would sit on a lot of these cases for 2 years. And like I said, I worked internal affairs. I had these shooting books. And you'd sit up there and wait for a DA's opinion, and it would take years. Now, I don't know what their processes are on the inside. All I know is that we would make phone calls and say, hey, where are we with this? Well, we're still reviewing it. We're still reviewing it. So I think that part of it is kind of letting the dust settle a little bit, seeing what the lawsuits are going to come up with. And then, you know, that was, like I said, one of her big critiques. She never prosecuted law enforcement. And I can tell you, I had cases where we had law enforcement officers sexually assaulting female inmates with DNA evidence. Never got filed. So I can't tell you why it doesn't happen. What I can tell you is that as the shooting analysis chairperson, the shooting analysis committee chairperson, soon after that incident, and we heard that in September. So after a shooting of that nature, what happens is there's a call for a critical incident review, and then there's a call for a shooting analysis, right? And the shooting analysis was called for, I think, in August of 2019. And when, they get 30 days, and it's presented in September. And by that time, Alex had been in office for a little less than a year. We could see the tone that he was setting in terms of, we're supporting deputies at all costs. Matter of fact, we're bringing back fired deputies, and we're defending them at all costs. And so the tone in that room had changed, and the people sitting around that table literally tried to justify that shooting. As the chairperson, I was able to override that, and I did. And again, that was in September. By the end of October, I was being transferred out of Audit and Accountability Bureau in that position. There were a lot of issues with that shooting from the very first day. And again, I called them out in that committee. I believe, and I don't know, I'm not in Alex's team, group, whatever you want to call it. I believe that here in 2022, he had no choice but to fire Deputy Lyons, because now the DA is filing charges. That shooting, again, having been involved in those situations, being a force instructor, was against a whole lot of different policies, and it was a bad shooting. Why it took 3 years, only Alex Villanueva could tell you that. Why it took the DA's office 3 years, only George Gascon or his team can tell you that. I truly don't know. But I can tell you that I've always been very candid about uses of force and shootings. And when things don't look right, they don't look right, and you need to hold them accountable for it. So it's been a long process. These death investigations do take a long time. Do I believe they have to take this long? No, I don't. I think they can move faster. I think they should move faster. But that's at this point, at this time, that's out of my control.
Well, Gascon didn't waste too much time to charge him, because he's only been the DA for a year.
2 years. He took over in 2020.
2020. So I guess it took him a year to charge. But let me ask you specifically, when you look at the video of that shooting, it doesn't seem as if the second shooting when Deputy Lyons goes to his trunk, pulls out the rifle, and then shoots again was even necessary. That's what, from my perspective, that part looks like overkill. But what about just tactic-wise? What's your critique of that whole incident?
The entire incident was wrong. Here's a problem that I have, being a black man, and it's happened to me. Deputy sheriffs pull you over for failing to use your blinker, and the first thing they do, they're opening up your car door. Get out. Oh, time out. What are we doing? Why am I getting out of the car? Because I told you to get out of the car, right? That's, again, a training thing that they've been allowed to do, and it's been justified. If you're pulling me over for failing to use my blinker, pull me over, ask for my license and registration, get my insurance, go write a ticket and come back up to the car. And where I tell you that's wrong is because you wouldn't do that to the white guy in Malibu. You don't tell them to get out the car every time you pull them over. So that tactic is only used in certain communities. So number one is this. When you walked up to a car, whether you're looking for somebody or not, that first deputy walked up to the car, opened the back door, and basically put himself in the car, right? Bad tactics right there. Traffic stop, well, I couldn't see in the window. The windows were, I get it. But you're in a bad position right there. So now the car is put in reverse and it starts backing up. And that deputy is, kind of at, he could get run over. His leg can be broken. He can get, run up under the car. It is a serious injury or deadly injury possibility that could happen, right? But once you clear yourself of that car, once you get away from that door, the threat is gone. That deputy, and here's what a lot of people don't look at. Lyons was the deputy on the outside. And I can't remember the deputy on the inside. I can't remember his name. But he basically put himself in that situation. He put himself in that car. And as the car started reversing, right, I believe he started shooting. Now, Lyons, knowing that his partner is in that car, can't see him hearing gunshots, he may feel that somebody in that car is shooting his partner, right? Which is, I'm in fear for my partner's life. But you kind of start shooting into a car that your partner's in. So, there's a whole bunch of tactical issues there. But once your partner clears from that car, that deputy knew that there was nobody in that car shooting at him. And he continued to shoot as he backed away from the car. So there were all kind of issues even prior to Deputy Lyons going and getting the AR. No communication. What was that partner telling Deputy Lyons? Was he saying gun, gun, gun? Was he saying there's no gun? I mean, a lot of things are going on. And the articulation of, well, we couldn't see in the car because the windows were tinted. If you cannot see a deadly threat, you should not be shooting. So all kind of tactical, grave, egregious tactical issues in that case. And it was very clear and obvious to me. I don't see why it wasn't so very clear and obvious to others.